Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream. Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
It's Friday, you bastards.
Crews have been working around the clock since June 11th to make this happen, and we have been tracking the progress week by week. You can see it right there. And as you can see in this live look from I-95, that's the little screen, the bottom of your screen right there. The finishing touches are going on the temporary lane set to open at noon today. NBC 10's Matt DeLucia live in Tacony. Matt, nobody thought that this could be done this quickly.
Yeah, it called me crazy, Aaron. I've got the countdown on my phone here. 5 hours, 57 minutes, and 58 seconds here.
I do that.
So we are really counting down the time. And you know what? I bet a lot of these drivers are going to be happy here because we've got the detour here at Cottman and State Road. All that traffic there trying to get back onto I-95 southbound and really just been crawling for the past 2 weeks. Now, Governor Josh Shapiro's office said the 6 lanes of traffic, 3 in each direction, will reopen today at noon. So yeah, these drivers have had to navigate all these alternates, but crews have been working around the clock, even really to the amusement of people watching the quick progress on a webcam. But yesterday, the final layer of asphalt went down, and then a special piece of equipment was brought in. State police, they escorted a massive blow dryer on the back of a Chevy pickup truck that was provided by Pocono Raceway. It's typically used to dry racetracks after it rains, but the officials here, they wanted to use that to dry the pavement and get the lines painted on the road before we get another round of rain.
I will continue to say, as I have said all along, we're working as fast as possible, and I think the steps that we've taken today prove that.
I'm glad.
We needed some good news. We did. We needed some really good news. So we have some. You know, you have a really capable, unbelievably productive new governor in Pennsylvania. Could have ended up with Doug Mastriano. Everybody could have ended up right there. Just saying, and you didn't. You didn't settle for, the actual bottom of the barrel. You didn't settle for the spit on the belly of the snake. No, you didn't. You actually stepped up and chose somebody who would be effective, somebody who could, manage governing, somebody who understood that if you had a catastrophe, as you did, this is all a result of that gas truck that just, boom, exploded underneath an overpass on I-95 near Philly. And remember when we first heard that, we went, oh my God, it's Philly. That's like a big city, I-95, major interstate, you know what I mean? We have 95 here, right? That's our interstate too. So, people on the East Coast know that thing goes all the way from Key West to, freaking Maine. And everybody was saying, oh, it's going to be months. I don't know what's going to happen. People are going to have to find alternate routes. They're going to have to stagger their drive to work. They're going to have to, and this could go on for years over here, years, maybe definitely months, definitely months, definitely. Wapner. 12 days. 12 days, and they used recycled materials. 12 days. And a little live assist from Pocono Raceway, which reminds me of growing up in New York. I mean, you used to hear the advertisements on the radio. What's that? Yeah, the radio. They used to have advertisements for like the funny cars, and, International Raceway and the Speedway and Pocono Raceway. So they donated one of their, I guess they dry the pavement if it rains ahead of the races. So they brought that in so that they could dry the pavement on I-95's, new lanes so they could paint them and open it today because, it's been pouring on the East Coast. It's like freaking hot as hell on the West Coast. But here it's just, we just had like massive thunderstorms, massive, and we're not done. But that is just, that is amazing. That is so good. That is so cool. That is so, responsible. It is so productive to have a governor and the Department of Transportation. I have to say, they instead of taking a victory lap for themselves, which they could have, their Department of Transportation, the head of the Department of Transportation there, who's like, listen, I just want to thank all the construction workers. And even if you didn't set foot on that site, even if that wasn't you, working around the clock on the webcam there. I just want to thank everybody in Philly, everybody who found alternate ways to get to work, everybody who dealt with the traffic jams, when you had to get off and then, go through a neighborhood and get on the next ramp in. Right? I mean, it was beautiful.
The major artery that carries drivers through Philadelphia now back in business.
That's right. This was the scene as a fire truck carrying Philadelphia's sports mascots crossed over I-95 into Coney this morning.
Why?
Governor Josh Shapiro says this astounding accomplishment would not have been possible without the aggressive efforts and hard work of construction crews.
Over the past 12 days, the eyes of the nation have been on Pennsylvania. We showed them what our grit and our determination are all about. We showed them good government in action. And this is what we can do when all levels of government come together to get the job done.
Yep.
And a shout out to the people of the city of Philly.
Yep.
They all stepped up. And they may not have stepped foot on this project and on this site, but they did their part. They tolerated the detours. They adjusted their work schedule and travel times, and they helped out in their way to make sure that we could get through this together. And they did a really good job.
They did.
And any of you idiots that didn't help us out, we ain't gonna let you on the bridge.
What?
And any of you idiots that didn't help us out, didn't go through, we're not gonna let you on the bridge.
Oh no, that would be Chris Christie. That would not.
Oh, that
be.
was the other guy. Okay.
That would be a Republican reaction to something good for the people. Yeah. No. This was amazing. This was a really good story. This was, and after, the uber hyper focus on the rich people who died in their submersible. And now, I swear to God, this faux concern for these 5 rich people is just, wow, it's really, it's intensely amazing.
What's crazy about this is it's so polarizing.
It's not why is it polarizing?
Well, because people are making fun of it, and other people are going so hard the other way, like you're saying, and it's like people are going at odds.
What way am I going?
No, well, you were about to make a point that people are very sensitive about it, and it's correct or no?
So I now I don't even remember what I was saying.
I didn't mean to. I was glad you brought that up though, because people have been going at it intensely about it.
I mean, I just don't understand, why this, this faux concern with how we're dealing with it now, to the point where they have to tell me over and over again, they didn't feel anything. They died in a merciful way. It went like boom, like this. They didn't even know. And then there was an interview with, the 19-year-old kid that you were, interested in. Remember, you kept asking me, like, who's the kid and how old is the kid and where'd the kid come from? And so it turns out that the Pakistani billionaire who dragged his son didn't want to go. The aunt, the father's sister, actually gave an interview, and she said he had this very bad feeling about it. He was not, not keen on going. He just did it because he didn't want to look like, a P word in front of his father. So he went. He literally went. His dad was obsessed with the Titanic. He got his wish, didn't he? His dad was obsessed with the Titanic. Too soon, everybody? Too soon? So his dad was upset, and this kid did not want to go. He really didn't want to go. He had a real bad feeling. So now they have to reassure us that this 19-year-old kid who didn't want to go, who had a bad feeling, who had, some sort of premonition, okay? He had this feeling. He had this gut feeling. Should have listened to your gut. Always listen to your gut. I guess that's the lesson here. He literally, they have to reassure us now. His brain did not even have a chance to understand or recognize that he was dying. It was a nanosecond. It was a millisecond. It was before you could even count to 1. This is what they're telling me now. And the reason why it's so grotesque is because the amount of infrastructure, the amount of response that these 5 billionaires were able to get from France, from Canada, from the United States with the ships and the ROVs, the remote operated vehicles and the tow things that, hey man, we have a thing, we could tow them from the bottom, but it's going to take time to bring them up 2.5 miles. I mean, it's going to take time. I don't know if we have enough oxygen. I don't know. And then we find out that the Navy heard the explosion on Sunday. Everyone knew they were dead on Sunday. And also, you had 500 people sink in the Mediterranean trying to flee Libya. No coverage. Just saying, weird.
A things Randy at RandyRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Jeez, Pete, what a week. I mean, it's so insane. The Republicans tried to introduce articles of impeachment for Joe Biden. And when you ask why did they want to impeach Joe Biden, you got different answers. Lauren Boebert's, her articles of impeachment are about the border or some such crap, okay? They want to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas, also of the Department of Homeland Security, for the border. Okay. It's like an amazing thing. Then they censured Adam Schiff for what? For actually investigating the interference that did occur in the 2016 election. I mean, it's just like, wow. And then in the middle of it, we had, an implosion. We didn't have an explosion. The explosion was fixed in Philly. That was an explosion that took down portions of I-95 outside of Philly. This one was an implosion under the sea, under the sea. It was like Ursula stuff. It was just, wow. I mean, crazy, crazy, crazy madness. And then we found out, on top of all of this, that Alito also has fine tastes in vacation activities, much like his brethren, his guy that he, considers his good, distinguished colleague, Clarence, who I don't know that Clarence has a taste for fine things as much as Clarence wanted his mother's house to be paid for. I don't know. But we're finding out everything's for sale up at the Supremes. All of them are on the market. And, it's just not fair. It's not right. It's wrong. It's wrong. Everything that happened this week was wrong. Every damn bit of it that happened this week was wrong. You don't impeach Joe Biden for no apparent reason. And Marge was bitch fighting with, Lauren over the fact that, nobody gets to impeach my man. I was impeaching him first. I was impeaching him on day one. But he hadn't done anything yet. It was only day one. He hadn't even taken the oath. Doesn't matter. And they turned the Congress into a Jerry Springer show and then had the nerve to turn around and blame us for what they were doing. To blame us, saying, looks like an insurrection to me. I mean, it was just so sad. Why? Because people actually said shame, shame, shame as they were trying to shame Adam Schiff, who is one of the best and brightest that has ever gone into public service. You have to understand these guys, and I wish some of them would, like the Josh Hawleys of the world, the ones with the, Harvard educations, the Yale guys. Go to work for a white shoe law firm. Go to Williams and Connolly and defend, guilty people that way. You know what I'm saying? Why do you have to muck up our government when obviously you can see in Pennsylvania that good government is a thing and it can work, and it can work for ordinary people who need it to work anyway, so that they can work. But everything that happened was like so wrong. It was amazing. So I was stunned. I was stunned by the news today that the Supreme Court picked a side in the immigration, mess, right? Because you and me, who hang together, okay, you and me, who stick it out, that immigration, I'll just say the border, the amount of entries is down by 70% since Joe Biden was able to get rid of the Trump-era Title 42 rules and put back Title 8 rules, which actually have consequences if you illegally break, through a port of entry, or you break in between, or you try to illegally get into the country, and you do it again, you go to jail for 5 years, okay? You do. And that seems to have tamped down the border crossings. There are 70% less border crossings, unauthorized border crossings this month since, they were able to get rid of Title 42. Just saying. So when she stands up on the floor like the idiot that she is, okay, and says, in the most serious, of voices, reading scripts that have been written for her, little Lauren, who's just doing this to try and, juice up her end of month fundraising, which is what's going on here. I just want you to be very clear about why she's fighting with Marge. She's fighting with Marge because, remember, Lauren prevailed in her congressional endeavor, in her congressional race, by a mere 400 and some odd votes. I think it was 496 votes, less than 500 votes. There was a man named Frisch, who was from the Aspen City Council, who decided that this girl was backcrap and embarrassing his beloved state of Colorado. And so he was going to run against her, right? And so in this last election, she literally, we didn't even know who won for a couple days because it was that close. And it turned out she won by 500 votes, okay? So that's why she's in Congress. So now she needs funds because, you know, the news about her son has been bad and the news about her divorce has been bad. She lost her business, right? That little bar she owned with her husband. And, you know, she's destitute now, okay? Her and her little, semi-automatic Christmas cards aren't doing it for her anymore. So she had to introduce articles of impeachment.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I rise to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows: H-Res 503, impeaching Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States, for high crimes and misdemeanors. Resolved that Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. is impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors.
She doesn't know what she's saying.
And that the following articles of impeachment be exhibited to the United States Senate. Articles of impeachment exhibited by the House of Representatives of the United States of America in the name of itself and of the people of the United States of America against Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States, in maintenance and support of its impeachment against him for high crimes and misdemeanors. Article 1, abuse of power.
And it all had to do with the border, okay? It all had to do with the border. Oh, look, everybody, breaking news.
We have some breaking news right now from the Supreme Court. This is an 8-1 decision on U.S. v. Texas, which was a Republican challenge to President Biden's immigration enforcement priorities. And I want to bring in NBC's Julia Ainsley, who's outside the Supreme Court. Julia, what do you know about this decision?
Hi, Anna. So we could still be getting more decisions in moments, but right now a decision that came out is in U.S. versus Texas, where 8 out of the 9 justices said that the states here that challenged the Biden administration's immigration policy lacked standing. They sided with the Biden administration 8-1, saying that the states did not have standing to sue the Biden administration over this policy. The policy allowed ICE to prioritize who it deported from inside the country. It prioritized people who were threats to national security, had previous criminal past. It was their way, they said, of trying to use prosecutorial discretion because they don't have the resources to deport all 11 million or more undocumented migrants living inside the United States.
So 8-1, the Supreme Court sides with the Biden administration and against Texas, saying Texas has no standing, which is really fascinating, to determine or prioritize who Joe Biden chooses to deport at the front of the line. Joe Biden chooses to deport at the front of the line terrorists, people who pose a risk to national security, people who have been convicted previously of felonies, people who are entering illegally and are now committing a felony by violating Title VIII, repeated entry, and not the 11 million people who reside within the United States, which is what Texas tried to say Biden is derelict in his duty to do. He needs to deport all 11 million people. That's why she's introducing articles of impeachment.
Speak to Randi. Call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, everybody. Here's some more good news. The pledge drive will be concluded after today. The summer pledge drive for Free Speech TV is almost over. I have my little part to play here, and it's not so little. It's huge. I got to do $47,000 today. $47,000. But here's the good. Half of it is matched, okay? $20,000. So whatever you do today, if you did $100 today, it would become $200. If you did $20,000 today, I'd be done because it will be matched up to $20,000. So if somebody did $20,000, I'd be done. Just saying. But anyway, $20,000 is being matched today by our frontline funders to give us a nice big conclusion to the summer Free Speech TV pledge drive. So if you would like to do it by phone, of course, the number is right there on the screen, 877-378-8669. We'll get you a happy, peppy person in Denver, Colorado who'll be very happy to take that money right off your hands and match it with a frontline funders cash. They've already ponied up the frontline funders, and I just want to say, in a brief moment, I just wanted to say thank you to all of them. Andrew in San Diego, Anonymous in Walla Walla, hello, Washington, Bill in Boise, Bruno, hey Bruno, I know Bruno. Bruno's amazing. He's awesome. He's in Northport, New York. Vivian and Bobby in La Puente, California. Brenda in Tejas. Hey, Brenda. Charlene in Houston, Texas. Delaney in Missouri. Karen in Lynchburg, Kansas. Mac and Tiana in Cowdrey, Colorado. Yes, our frontline funders are actual real people who put real money on the table to match your money. So also to James in Asheville, North Carolina. Janet in Downers Grove, Illinois. Joe in Washington, D.C. Thank you, Joe. Joyce in Apache Junction, Arizona. Mike in Tippecanoe County, Indiana. Suzanne in Virginia. Shia in Hertford, North Carolina. Thank you. A big thank you from me for being a Free Speech TV frontline funder and putting your money where my mouth is. It is an awesome thing to know. And thank you for letting me know you. But please do give. This is my second to last appeal to you. It will be matched dollar for dollar up to $20,000 today, thanks to those people. So reach us at freespeech.org if you want to, if you can, if you will. Or you can use your phone and do it real quick. Just text to 44321 the letters FSTV. FSTV, text it to 44321. And, well, you'll see. I mean, this is what's going on right now, right there on your screen. Thank you very, 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 very much. So anyway, I just wanted to show you how ridiculous this party is. Okay, so what we had this week, we have, a Supreme Court that's obviously for sale. For sale. I mean, it's an amazing thing. So some people were suggesting just go straight to the sponsorships, which I've been suggesting for our members of Congress forever, ever since Citizens United, when the Supreme Court decided that giving money to the Supreme Court would be a good thing. Who knew when they were deciding Citizens United and they were telling you that, money in politics wasn't going to corrupt politics, that it included buying them? Who knew? I didn't. Did you? Did you ever think that the Supreme Court was going to be part of the sale, of the fire sale, of the, everything's for sale? Did you ever think that it would be part? So if it is, and as we suggested, two things to solve the issue of who's paying for what. Again, we said let the Congress members, go down to the floor and on their suits, let them have logos just like the NASCAR drivers. Let them, instead of Pennzoil, let us see, a 3M instead of, Chevron. Well, it would be Chevron. It'd be the same damn thing for both of them. So just say, but now the Supreme Court, they got all these, really, drab black robes. Some of the girls try and zhuzh it up a little bit with the, doilies, with the doilies around the collar there. Yeah, it's a little zhuzh. But, I mean, just go ahead and put the logos. Put them on there. Put the, the salmon fishing outfit, because the guy who owns that hotel, the guy that owns that entire enterprise, he's also a billionaire. He's a real estate billionaire from California. He paid for Alito to come up to his place so that he could sit there and chew his ear off. You know what I mean? And Leonard Leo is the organizer of all these trips. So just put, Federalist Society across their back. Just like make them a team. We don't work for you. We work for the Federalist Society. Leonard Leo, just put it on there. It's very Ted Lasso, but hey, what the hell? At least then we'll know what we're getting or not getting. But it's not fair, right? It's not fair that, the very elite, the very rich, the very well, I don't even want to say endowed, because it's probably the opposite. That's true, which is why they're so intent on, showing everybody what they can do, because they can't do. So it's not right. It's not fair. And so one of the things that somebody suggested, in fact, she's kind of new to my reading, docket. She's a columnist. Her name's Alexandra Petri. And she's kind of new to the Washington Post. I guess, I don't know if she's been there a year yet, but I started seeing her. Yeah, I started seeing you too. And I started reading. Today was like she knocked it out of the park, because today she finally gets it. Today she actually said, listen, the American billionaire acknowledged that they are purchasing every part of our government. They are purchasing the Supreme Court, and they are showing you that, no collection is complete without your very own Supreme Court justice, right? And so it's becoming like, oh, I don't know, the Gucci of the 1970s, you know, the Gucci bag that everybody had to have. Then it became a Fendi thing. Then it became a Louis. Right now, so now it's a Supreme Court justice that you have to have if you're really rich. Because, you know, Louis got knocked off. I don't know. And then we got the real, and you could actually buy pre-owned, authentic, you know, for half the price, and you could finance it and all this stuff. So now so the new thing to want, the new thing to need, the new thing to have is apparently a Supreme Court justice, and that's not right because there is no real to discount them for me. And a pre-owned Supreme Court justice is probably dead. So you don't really want that. You're not really, you know, I don't really want a previously used Supreme Court justice because, unfortunately, you know, even the good ones, dead. That's the only way they ever leave the court, except for Kennedy, who somehow was pressured. I don't know what that was. I'm not sure. Something to do with his son. I'm not sure what goes on up there with him. But it's just, you know, we need to fix the situation there. And so Alexandra Petrie of the Washington Post suggests that we do sponsorships for the Supreme Court justices, but I want to take it a little bit further with you because now that everybody's got their brains wrapped around the idea that it's a game for the rich and that this is the new, you know, status symbol, this is the new thing that a billionaire must have in his, you know, a collection of things, it's not fair. So I would like to suggest timeshares. Or fractional ownership, if you will, if you must, if you may. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, some of you understand what fractional ownership is, especially if you are somebody who can't afford to stay in like a 6-star hotel, but you want to really badly. Sort of the timeshare of the elite is what fractional ownership is. What do you say to that? Like we all pony up a little bit of money. Even the frontline funders could match our, and you know, then we get for like a fraction of the court session, we get our very own Supreme Court justice. Sorry. Yeah, they're justices. They have nothing to do with justice.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
The ethics problems that we are seeing connect to right-wing dark money billionaires. And what also connects to right-wing dark money billionaires is the Federalist Society list that got 3 of these judges appointed by Trump. The Judicial Crisis Network advertisements
remember
that
those?
were propagated all across the television to campaign for these justices' confirmations. The funding of Republican senators and of Mitch McConnell's political operation, and flotillas of briefs from front groups that are put before these justices to tell them what it is that the right-wing billionaires want. So the ethics piece is one tranche of a much bigger problem of dark money billionaire influence, which is why I call this the court that dark money built. For sure, term limits are widely accepted and is a good idea to take before the voters. And all of this ethics and transparency mess, including the mess of these fake front groups that are appearing before the court on behalf of the billionaires, those are terrific issues to take before the voters. So yes, I agree with you that we need to make this an issue in the 2024 elections. And I think little by little, particularly after the Dobbs decision, voters are coming to see that the Supreme Court isn't some arbitrary faraway thing. It's affecting their personal lives. It's affecting their personal lives in ways that they don't like. And the explanation for what's happening is not a good one. It's an explanation of dark money influence.
Right. And so, you know, that's my husband in heaven, Sheldon Whitehouse.
You're swooning. You're watching that. Just a little smile on your face.
Because he's so dreamy. Come on, Brett.
I love the dude. I mean, not the way you love the dude.
No,
but
come
you
on.
know I love the dude.
You have to love him the way I love him. I mean,
I want him to be my president.
He's dreamy. He's brilliant. He's an above-average dancer. He's good-looking, and he's brilliant. and he understands the problem of the Supreme Court. So, but listen, the idea that we have to bring this in front of the voters so that we can solve the problem of the moneyed elite purchasing every portion of our government. Although Sheldon is very, laser focused on the court's purchase. And who purchased them. And slowly but surely, thanks to ProPublica, we're learning who actually is purchasing Supreme Court justices. And it turns out people with 10 different cases in front of them. People who have, how do you run a hedge fund that has 10 appearances at the United States Supreme Court questioning your business practices, and then you walk away with a favorable result after 10 appearances, and it enriches you to the tune of $2.4 billion off of your vulture capitalism that you participated in when Venezuela, apparently this is the thing, when they went bankrupt. This guy was a vulture capitalist, came in and bought everything that was, for sale when, countries, lose their footing, and to have a bad leader and bankrupt. Anyway, that's another story. But his solution is that he leaves it to the voters, right? And that's obviously a long slog, when the real solution is to create a marketplace for us to go ahead and purchase our favorites. Do you know what I mean? And because, listen, here's the little, catch-all here, okay? This is why it's brilliant. This is why this makes perfect sense to me. Not only do we create a marketplace where we can fractionally own ourselves as Supreme Court justice for a portion of the term, where we can send in, like a flotilla of amicus briefs that get read, where we can say what we prefer, like, autonomy over our own person, like decisions medical being made in medical offices and not at church pulpits, and certainly not by, Opus Dei Catholics like Leonard Leo. You know what I'm saying? But then check this out. If everybody wanted to buy, if it became a thing, that owning a Supreme Court justice was the ultimate in luxury and status, and we created a marketplace by which we could fractionally own a Supreme Court justice, oh, you laugh. Guess what happens? Guess. Supply and demand. There are so few justices, right? And the demand is going to be so high and the supply so low. Only nine for the 350 million Americans. Even if only the working Americans could, enter into the fractional ownership. Like, even if you had to go through a credit check. Okay, so then we're narrowing it down to 100 million Americans, maybe 50. Let's do the smallest amount. So 50 million Americans have an interest in purchasing fractionally or partially. Time sharing a Supreme Court justice. There's just not enough of them to go around for the demand that would be created with my marketplace. Therefore, guess what we would have to do? We'd have to get more of them. Supply and demand being what it is, and them being so business friendly and, always responding to supply and demand, always responding to the needs of capitalism, they would then be amenable to the real solution, which is to expand the Supreme Court and dilute the power of the dirty ones, of the elitos. And you know what's really interesting about Clarence and Alito? I don't know if you remember this or not. I put it in yesterday's homework just to jog your memory, if in case you were just, perusing, articles you must read yesterday. You would have seen the one that was a flashback from just a couple of weeks ago. Wasn't even a flashback. Wasn't even like an experience. Wasn't even like, psilocybin or anything fun. It was just, current events, basically. Still, that was a story that said that the only two justices who didn't do their financial disclosure forms, who didn't submit on time in a timely manner, which is kind of why we want to jail Hunter Biden, because he didn't pay his taxes in a timely manner. Well, they didn't do their financial disclosures, which are required by law, in a timely manner, was Alito and Clarence. Why would that be? Apparently, Alito knew a story was coming out in ProPublica, a big one that would show that he was on the take too. That he, was being romanced, dated. That he was being, a prostitute. I mean, what else are you going to call it? What else are you going to say? I mean, they say that Hunter Biden cheated on his taxes because he was apparently, paying for prostitutes and saying it was a business expense. What's the diff? What's the diff? There isn't one, okay? One is buying a prostitute. The other one is being a prostitute. Okay?
I was just about to say that's the only difference is Alito is the prostitute in this instance.
In this particular scenario. Who's the prostitute? Who's the prostitute? Alito's the prostitute. Alito is. Yes, Alito is. But honestly, you know, it's so obvious that he knew that there was a story coming out about how he was for sale. And that's why he was preemptively writing in the very friendly editorial page of the Wall Street Journal, which every legal expert looked at and just like did a spit take. Seriously, no one could believe that this is what he did. And his excuses were so poor. His excuses were so bad. Well, you know, we may have had wine, but it definitely wasn't worth $1,000 a bottle. I mean, is that a denial that it was costing $1,000 a bottle, or was that saying it didn't taste to me like $1,000 bottle of wine tastes? Which would mean he's had $1,000 bottles of wine before, and this, by comparison, was not in that league. I mean, this is crazy. His explanations for, you know, why he was entitled to take the seat on the airplane, because it would have gone vacant had he not, taken the invitation and said yes to it. Now, this whole trip was organized by Leonard Leo. What's really fascinating is Leonard Leo is the person who actually coordinated Clarence Thomas's, Harlan Crow experience. When you look at the pictures of Harlan Crow and Clarence sitting at the lake, and you look at the painting that Harlan Crow caused to have made, commemorating this awesome photograph of them sitting at the lake. Who else is in that, painting? A painting. So ridiculous. It's Leonard Leo, Harlan Crow, and, Clarence in this freaking painting commemorating their time together at the lake. I mean, and it's the same thing here. Leonard Leo in the photograph. I mean, but his excuse was, well, it's not like I chartered the whole plane. I mean, the seat was going to go vacant if I didn't occupy it. This is what Alito said. This is why it was okay. He called the plane a facility. What? Why? Because in the hospitality rule, you have to, you could take, the shelter of a facility. Okay? The plane is not a facility. The hangar is a facility. The plane is a plane. I don't care what you call it. It's a plane. Okay? It's an aircraft. But that happens all the time to you, doesn't it? I mean, like, you'll be sitting at the gate and Delta has already boarded their diamond members and their, platinum members and their, friendly members and their, whatever. And 80,000 people have gotten on the plane, right? Because they're all preferred customers. Now it's your turn to get on the plane, but, you're a standby. And they go, oh, well, there's a standby seat available. What, you mean it would be vacant if I didn't? Yeah. So why do I have to pay for it? Because that happens all the time, right? Yeah, JetBlue always calls me and goes, oh, hey, listen, we have a vacant seat. Want to fly today for nothing? It's free. Free for you. Free for you. Free for you.
Mary had a little man. The fall. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
You've got a president who's been indicted for stealing nuclear secrets. You have a president who's being indicted for stealing secrets on invading Iran. You've got a president indicted for stealing other military secrets and highly classified documents. You have a president indicted for obstruction of justice. And now you have a president, we were talking about the Supreme Court. I mean, the Supreme Court, who, again, out of control, running roughshod over the will of the overwhelming majority of Americans. And now we have this president, again, unprecedented. But here we are moving towards, I think, the most serious charges, and the one that I think historians are going to be grappling with long after we are all gone. That is a president charged with conspiracy to commit sedition against the United States of America.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. Historians will be wrestling with it. And as we all do all the time, I think citizens have to wrestle with it now.
You think?
Right. It's so central. And I just really believe that we have a pretty clear choice in this political season. We can choose a constitutionalist, a party that has been pretty faithful to the Constitution, which is the party of the incumbent president, or we can favor a party that has been shockingly but persistently supportive of a insurrectionist or a seditionist.
And a guy who literally would sell out America's national security, sell our secrets for a golf tournament at one of his golf clubs. I mean, really, it's not even a question of, you know, the value of our national secrets as much as it is he needed to show he could do something like that. Here, look, these are, you know, Iran war plans. Oh, I can't let you see them because I didn't declassify them. I could have when I was president, but I'm not president now, so I can't. I mean, it's just so unbelievable. The list of stuff that this man has done, and the Republicans standing up there and saying, you know, we need to impeach Biden because the border. But the border is actually a Biden success story as well as almost everything else Biden touched. The infrastructure package. Look at what happened in Pennsylvania in 12 days. In 12 days, they were able to redo the highway with literally renewable, recyclable materials, okay? They used like plastic bottles to rebuild this highway. They used like the most environmentally friendly, recyclable materials on top of building it back in, 12 days. So Build Back Better is a thing. So these are the choices, right? You can have a completely competent, although not, exciting or gripping or, dramatic or, bullying or entertaining president who gets crap done for you, like rebuilding roads, bridges, and, crumbling highways. Or you could have somebody that steals America's national security secrets in order to be the big man on the block. I honestly, this is really the choice. You can choose to go down the road where every single person that serves in the United States government, whether they're one of 9 super brilliant lawyers, so brilliant they are that they make it all the way to the Supreme Court, these lawyers do, and then when confronted with their own behavior, they try to tell you that, among the unwashed masses, if you sat at the gate long enough and a seat wasn't occupied on your Delta flight, your JetBlue flight, your American Airlines, they would give it to you for free. This is his legal defense of his taking a $100,000 private airplane trip to Alaska. I mean, it's just, it boggles the mind. How stupid do they really think or need us to be? I don't think it's a question of how stupid they think we are. I think it's a question of how stupid they need us to be. And Donald Trump is just the guy to dumb it down. He's just the guy to suck every single ability you have to navigate your way in what is not a simple world, but to navigate your way successfully through the world and to actually take care of your own and your children and yourself while doing it. He will suck that ability right out of your head. These are our choices. This is really where we are. I mean, and I got to tell you, it just blows my mind that this is even a question. It just blows my mind that there's, listen, Chris Christie, let me play you him. So this was, I'm starting to like this guy. Not enough to vote for him, ever. Okay, no. Because Biden really does deserve a pat on the back. He deserves an attaboy. Sorry, true. Not entertaining? Done. Got it. But effective? Good governance, leadership, world stage. Yes. So anyway, Christie decided that he was going to wobble on into the Faith and Freedom Forum and tell them pretty much that their priorities had nothing to do with faith or freedom. So this was brave.
I'm running because he's let us down. He has let us down because he's unwilling. He's unwilling to take responsibility for any of the mistakes that were made, any of the faults that he has, and any of the things that he's done. And that is not leadership, everybody. That is a failure of leadership. And you can boo all you want. But here's the thing. Our faith teaches us that people have to take responsibility for what they do. People have to stand up and take accountability for what they do. And I cannot stand by, and as soon as I've started to be critical, after all of that, and after you offered me White House Chief of Staff, now what he does is call me names and belittle me. And I will tell you, if all you do is disagree with someone, and in return you get that kind of treatment, I've joined a great list of Americans like Rex Tillerson and Jim Mattis and Mark Esper and Mick Mulvaney and John Kelly and all the rest. And you can love him all you want, but I will tell you that doing those kind of things makes our country smaller. It makes our country smaller, and it makes us lesser. During the Revolutionary War, Abigail Adams asked her husband John if they were going to win the war. And here's what John said. He said, I can't guarantee success in the war, but I can guarantee something better, that we deserve it.
That was really a good one. That was a very, very good one. And, you know, you could see slowly, he's starting to win some of the people in the audience over. Some of them were booing at the beginning, and others of them were going, we love Trump. That's what he said. You could love him as much as you want. That's what they were saying. We love Trump. But he just kept on at it, saying, this is not anything to do with my faith or your faith. People in our faith have to take responsibility when they err, when they make mistakes, when they sin. They have to repent. Repent, ye sinners, right? Some people's ears perked up. You could see that suddenly, what's he talking about? Yeah, that is part of our faith, to take responsibility for our sin, right? Leadership matters. Yeah, that's good too. And then the John Adams just finishing up with the Revolutionary War to the Daughters of the American Revolution crowd over there. They are all doing, they spend their $49 on Ancestry.com or, the other little, just to hope, just hoping that they can find somebody in their tree that was on the Mayflower. Just somebody. It's their fondest dream. It's why they do it. It's why they send away for the little kit. It's why they spit into the thing. That's all they want. That's all they want to see. That's all they want to see. God help them if it comes back Africa. Oh my God, they're all disoriented. But yeah, he's doing what needs to be done here. You gotta say props for that.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Up is down and black is white. We're through the looking glass, people. This is Andy Biggs.
You know, on one hand, I view it as them trying to obstruct a congressional proceeding. That would be criminal, wouldn't it, Todd? The other thing is it showed that it doesn't matter how bad a person is in the Democrat Party, they will rally around them because as you say, they have no moral compass. But any compass that they do have is to try to take over and control in an authoritarian style. And Adam Schiff was their dude who was propelling these lies, and so they're all right in line with him, and they're the ones that should be ashamed, not the Republican Party who censured him.
Okay, there's so much that you could say about that, like Donald Trump. Okay, they are the party of a man who was twice impeached, has been indicted on 71 different charges under 7 federal felony statutes. Some of them up to and including seditious conspiracy, inciting a riot, and he's being charged under the Espionage Act, for God's sake. And they have the nerve to sit there and tell you that there's something wrong with the Democrats rallying around Adam Schiff, who's broken no law ever, who was actually correct when he investigated interference in our election at the behest of Donald Trump, who welcomed it and said, Russia, if you're listening, I hope you can, et cetera, et cetera. And, all the convictions that Mueller got as a result of the investigation. I mean, they just want you to, like, go through the memory hole and forget everything that you knew. It's unbelievable. They're also the party of George Santos. I mean, this is a guy who can't stop lying. He just to save himself, he can't. He cannot. He is incapable. He's pathological as well. This is part of their party, and they rallied around him. I mean, people tried to refer him to try to get him out of there. The people who voted for him feel defrauded, and they're Republicans on Long Island, and they begged the Republican Party in the House of Representatives to do something to save them from the embarrassment of electing a guy who lied to them about everything, anything. Like he lied about graduating high school. He lied about working for Wall Street. He lied about being actually somebody who was guilty of a crime in Brazil. He's a felon in Brazil. You know what I mean? And they rally around him. They go, oh, no, we need his vote. Kevin McCarthy, we need his vote. There's only 4 members of the House, majority. That's all I have is 4. I can't afford to lose even George Santos. So we'll just bury his investigation. We'll just send it to the Ethics Committee and let it rot there. And, come next election, hopefully, the people in Long Island will take care of it. I can't hold him accountable for his crimes. I can't hold him accountable for, fraud or for stealing campaign donations. Or I can't hold him accountable for any of his criminal activity because I need the vote. And they have the nerve to sit. I mean, Jim McGovern, he was like, really? Seriously?
Oh, my God, Mr. Speaker. Let's get real here.
Oh, my God.
Nothing about this is serious. Not the process, not the intentions of the resolution sponsor, not the impeachment case, not a single damn thing. Yesterday, Republicans dishonored this House and dishonored themselves by bringing to the floor a ridiculous censure resolution against Adam Schiff because Donald Trump told them to. And today, they're dishonoring this House and dishonoring themselves by bringing to the floor a ridiculous impeachment referral resolution against Joe Biden because Donald Trump told them to. This body has become a place where extreme, outlandish, and nutty issues get debated passionately and important ones not at all.
Yeah.
In short, Mr. Speaker, the Republican Party is a joke.
It is a joke, and they're puppets. And just like Nancy Pelosi said the other night after the censure resolution, and everybody got up and said, what the hell is wrong with you people? Seriously, dude, what is wrong with you? You defend a man who welcomed help from a foreign adversary who's now attacking one of the nascent democracies in the world because he can. I mean, really, what is wrong with you? You're defending a guy who defrauded his own New Yorkers at a fake fraudulent university, a guy who's been adjudicated so guilty that he can't even run a charity anymore. He's prohibited from owning, running, or being on the board of a charitable organization because he tends to steal from it. That's who you're defending, but Adam Schiff needs to go down in flames. Why? Because he actually connected the dots and told the American people what happened to them. This is a joke, right? You're kidding over here with this. This is, oh my God, Mr. Speaker. Oh my God is right. I mean, it's like unbelievable. So listen, when you want cool and you want swagger around this issue, okay, don't come to me because me, I'm breathless. And for me, it's just it's got to be a bit. You know what I mean? It has to be because this can't be real. It just can't. This cannot be a real person that's really supported by real people. This has to be some sort of a mock. You know what I mean? It has to be some sort of a joke. Where people are only, curious to see what happens next. That's it. It's just that. That's like the intrigue. That's all that's appealing about it. But if you want swagger, you got to go to Obama. And Obama sat down with Christiane Amanpour, right? And she asked him the question that we had a caller yesterday who asked me the question. Like, how could you be indicted and facing even more indictments and still run for president? And I told her, we don't have anything in the Constitution that, is a barrier to entry if you're a felon. We don't have any barrier to entry if you're indicted for felonies. We don't have a barrier for entry to the presidency except you have to be a naturalized U.S. citizen and you have to be 35 years or older. That's it. That's the only prerequisite. That's the only barrier to entry to run for and to be elected president of the United States. So Christiana Amanpour asked Obama about that. Like, is that the way things ought to be?
The spectacle of a former president being federally indicted. How is the rest of the world, the democratic world, maybe even the non-democratic world, meant to interpret that indictment and indeed the fact that a federal indictee is able to run for the highest office in the land, maybe even the world?
It's less than ideal. Right? But the fact that we have a former president who is having to answer to charges brought by prosecutors does uphold the basic notion that nobody's above the law.
Oh, leave it to him to make it seem somewhat just that it's allowed. Okay, because it really was elegant, right? That's swagger. That to me is the confidence of knowing the subject so cold that you can offer the sunny side of it. And the sunny side is, yes, but, it's not the way that everybody would wish it would be, that there was a barrier to entry, if you were indicted for felonies, especially under the Espionage Act. But think of it this way, everybody. He has to answer for those crimes because we're a great democracy.
Call in, connect.
Yes.
To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
All right, stand by, Brother David. You're right after the pitch. This is the pitch, okay? This is the last time for the Summer Free Speech TV Pledge Drive that I'm going to ask you to please pony on up. Because today, $20,000 is on the table. Anything you gave, anything you give, anything you desire to give, that you give between now and the end of this show will be matched dollar for dollar up to $20,000. I had a goal at the beginning of the show. I had to raise $47,000 to get to the ultimate goal of $200,000. That's what the goal was for this particular pledge drive. And that makes payroll for about 16 people in Denver, Colorado for the quarter. That's why we do these pledge drives, okay? We only do them quarterly, and we only do them for 2 weeks at a clip. So today, we were able to come real close. I still need to close the deal, okay? I still need to get to the ultimate goal. And so I'm about 20,000 short, okay? So if somebody would just give 5 or 10, it would be matched, see? And then we could go home. Wouldn't that be nice? So if you can, please text your donation to 44321. Put in the letters FSTV in your text message device, and we'll send you a secure link, and you can use that, and you can make your donation that way, or you can just dial us up on the phone, right? What is it? 866. Put the number up for me. Thank you. 877. That's why. 877-378-8669. That would be the phone number to get to Denver. Or you could just do it online at freespeech.org. If you want just to go to the donate page, it's real easy. It's freespeech.org/donate, but super simple to get there. Thank you very much. I know we'll make it. We always do. People in Denver are very, very excited to talk to you, and I'm sure that they would give you a great big hug if they could. Brother David.
It's final Free Speech Friday. Fix the freeways. Finger the felonious fascist frauds Friday, sister. It's a day.
It's a day, yeah.
Boy, I'm with you. I'm with you on the time sharing of Supreme Court justices.
Why not?
I think that it's the best idea I've heard in a while.
Thank you.
Seriously, I started laughing and then I started thinking about it.
honestly, without any joking around, I have to say the goal here would be for us to vote to expand the court. Now, that is a function of Congress. And, as long as Kevin McCarthy is Kevin McCarthy, there's no way that the House helps us do that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to bring it to the people. And then, in the midterm election, or actually in the presidential, we take back the House, keep the Senate, and keep the presidency. And then we get serious about it. So if we wanted to legislate an expansion of the court, meaning, the court has 9 because there were 9 districts last time we, sat a court, right? The last time we legislated how many seats there should be, there were 9 appellate districts. Well, now there's 13. And so we get to add at least 4 more if we're doing it the way that we're supposed to be doing it, right? And in order to convince people that the supply and demand is out of whack, I thought perhaps fractional ownership might create a marketplace.
Yeah, I like it. And fractional on a Friday. No, it makes perfect sense.
Right.
As much as I hate to say it, Chris Christie made sense.
Yeah. But I will point out, Brett brought this up to me during the break because he didn't want to interrupt because he felt bad that he interrupted before my brilliant, train of thought. And, right. But he did come to me during the break and he goes, I'm all about what you said about Chris Christie. It was brave for him to go to the Faith and Freedom Coalition, stand there on the stage and, say what he did. But it reminds me just so much of Lindsey Graham. It reminds me just so much of Ted Cruz. Reminds me just so much of even, little ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, who said, my kids knew in kindergarten not to lie the way he does, right? Not to behave the way he does. So, there is that.
Well, and see, here's the thing. The presidential candidate who will make America fabulous again has just announced, and that's Randy Rainbow. So, I got to go with that.
Did you see the latest one? I retweeted it because it was just today was perfect. I mean, listen, I love all his stuff. I really do.
Donald and the John with boxes.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Randy Rainbow does song parodies, and he does them brilliantly because he's got a great voice, and he's got musicality. He's got the whole 9 yards.
And he's funny.
He's funny. He's got production values. He's great. Okay, what he does is just done so freaking funny well. Okay.
Yeah.
So today he decided to tell the story of Donald's bathroom with the boxes, and he did it to the Beatles, "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds," but he called it Donald in the
John.
Donald in the John with boxes.
And it was another level altogether.
It was the harmony, everything about it was
genius.
Pristine. It was perfect.
And speaking of genius, on a bittersweet note, but I'm very grateful, our friend, the author of Fiddler on the Roof and Fiorello, they should revive that. And She Loves Me, and really the last of the golden age, Sheldon Harnick, departed planetside today at age 99. And I have to tip my hat to him. I knew him briefly in New York.
Did you?
But
99 is too long. It's too long. I'm sorry.
I know, I agree. But still, he was vital up to the end, and he was a mensch. And we need more like him.
Okay.
People are coming.
All right, so I'll send something.
Thoughts
and prayers. Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. You have the most fabulous weekend, dear
You too,
heart.
my love. Thank you.
Mwah.
Mwah. Bye. All right, so just a couple more thousand. I still got a couple more thousand. Let me just do one final push here, okay? One final. Free speech summer pledge drive. Almost done, almost there. Text the letters FSTV to 44321. Find us at freespeech.org or give us a call at 866 or 877.
Yeah.
Well, the number's not there. It's the only way I know it.
I'm trying to match your hectic speed on the info.
I just need the number because the rest I know. But 877-378-8669 because that's not my number. My number's 270. So there's a lot of numbers. All right, thanks everybody. Richard in California.
Yes. Hi.
Hey.
My thoughts were, if people were to look up narcissistic personality disorder, it's in the DSM.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is the poster child.
But he's so much more than that. Don't deprive him of other diagnoses that fit him, because there are so many. Like there's greed and there's narcissism. Yes, but there's so much else borderline personality disordered about him that to say that he's the poster child for just one mental illness is just a disservice to how messed up he is.
I agree.
Yeah.
But it stands out to me.
The narcissism, yeah. Only because that particular illness is contagious. It is one of the
Right.
few, yeah, it is. It's one of the few mental illnesses that is contagious to people who might like you, care for you, want to be in your life. It just hobbles them, really. It ruins their existence as well to be in love with a narcissist. It happened to me. I'm telling you, it happened to me a long time ago, but it took my friend Rebecca, who is the psychologist, and a book. I had to read my way out of it.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, just in case anybody's listening to hear whether or not we mentioned Hunter Biden yet again this week. Hunter Biden, okay? So here's the thing. So Hunter Biden was able to, after 5 freaking years of being investigated, 5. They found that he paid his taxes, but not in a timely manner. So he owed $2 million. That's a lot of millions, right? That's two of them. And he paid those $2 million to the government, but they agreed to, hold him accountable for a late payment on $2 million, which is a lot of money, and charged him with misdemeanor willful tax avoidance because he didn't pay on time. And then they charged him with lying on a federal form to get a gun, which he had for 2 whole weeks in his life, which his girlfriend threw in the trash because he was a crackhead at the time. The Republicans are so annoyed with the result of the 5-year investigation into Hunter Biden, just so annoyed that it didn't produce, espionage. It didn't produce, felonies. It didn't show, And so now they're running around saying there's whistleblowers again. Their other whistleblowers turned up dead. Their audio tapes that they say they have of Joe Biden taking bribes don't exist. Nobody's ever heard them. Nobody can find them. Even the people who are saying that we think they exist have never seen them, heard them, or been in a room with them. Okay, but they keep on expressing that there might be. Well, the moon might be made of green cheese. Or Stilton. It might be, but it's not. Okay? And so now they're saying that there's 2 whistleblowers, and the whistleblowers are saying that they were prohibited from filing the charges that they really, really wanted to file during these 5 years where, by the way, Donald Trump was president. Yeah. And now they say that they have a WhatsApp message. So let's read the WhatsApp message so that you know what's being alleged here, okay? So just so you know, the investigation into Hunter Biden that lasted 5 years had a code name, just like the investigation into the Russia interference had a code name. It was Crossfire Hurricane, right? Everybody remembers that. Something out of a Rolling Stones song. Don't ask me why. This one was called Sportsman. Sportsman. I would have called it Crackhead, but that's just me. Coke fiend, crackhead, drug addict, something. They called it Sportsman. Okay, they got hold of, in this whistleblower complaint, now there's 2 whistleblowers, and they both were in supervisory roles on the 5-year Hunter Biden investigation. 5 years, which led to this proposed plea deal, meaning it's not wrapped up, it's not done, okay, because the judge has to accept Hunter Biden's plea agreement, and that won't happen until July 26th, okay? So that's a couple days from now. 3, actually, it'll be Monday. So the whistleblowers have a complaint that they filed, I don't know, a long time ago. And all of a sudden, the Republican Party is making their complaint visible to the public, even though there were 50 other agents that worked on this 5-year investigation. Yeah. They found these 2 who said that they were prohibited from doing what they wanted to do with this case. Okay. And this was all while Donald Trump was president. So in 2017, swear to God, now here's a little fact you have to keep in your head. In 2017, Joe Biden was not president. In 2017, Joe Biden was not vice president. In 2017, Joe Biden was not running for president. In 2017, Joe Biden was just a retired politician with a son who had a drug problem. Okay. In 2017, the whistleblower says they found a WhatsApp text message. There is no corroboration for what phone. There is no corroboration that it's real. There is no corroboration that any of what is written in this text message is true. None. But this is what it says. Quote, they infer that this is Hunter Biden texting a Chinese business person. Quote, I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight. And he's apparently texting a guy named Henry Zhao. This, according to the investigators at the IRS. Okay, that's who's blowing the whistle. Investigators at the IRS. He writes, and Z, meaning Mr. Zhao, and Z, if I get a call or text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Again, Joe Biden was not vice president. Joe Biden was not running for president. Joe Biden was not president. In fact, Donald Trump was president, and the Department of Justice was Donald Trump's Department of Justice. But this IRS investigator says that this is a real WhatsApp. Okay, let's accept that it is a real WhatsApp text message that Hunter Biden, who was a crackhead at the time, sent to a guy named Henry Zhao in China, saying that his father was sitting there. But, his father had nothing to do with sitting there, because what would Joe Biden be doing in a room with Hunter Biden while Hunter Biden was, blowing crack? Like, it would never happen. Okay. So it's unclear what commitment the message refers to. It's unclear whether or not anybody was in a room with Hunter Biden. It's unclear whether or not that really was Hunter Biden. It's unclear, what the threat was, because Joe Biden was not in a position of power at all. He was just an ordinary garden variety citizen at the time. So, this is what the whistleblower said that he was incensed about, is that he had this text message and he claims nobody would let him further investigate. Well, today Merrick Garland came out to the podium, to do a press conference, but the press conference wasn't supposed to be about any of this. This was the Republican Party sandbagging Merrick Garland into making a comment about an investigation that is near its end. Again, it's not closed because the judge has to accept the plea, right, from Hunter to close it. But he was out there, Merrick Garland was, to tell everybody that they had wrapped up, a whole bunch of fentanyl. That's what they were, and that they were able to hold China accountable for a whole bunch of crap that, Republicans would love to hold China accountable for. But he got sidetracked, okay? And he was asked about Hunter Biden and the whistleblower. And here's what he said.
Yesterday, whistleblower testimony came out from an IRS supervisory special agent, current supervisory special agent, who insists he was in a meeting with U.S. Attorney David Weiss, who in October 2022 claimed in front of multiple people that he was told not to pursue the Hunter Biden investigation, not to bring charges in 2022. You said previously you've stayed out of the Hunter Biden investigation. It's been on David Weiss to figure that out. Can you once and for all shed a little light? There seems to be a little confusion on what's going on here.
I'd be happy to. As I said at the outset, Mr. Weiss, who was appointed by President Trump as the U.S. Attorney in Delaware and assigned this matter during the previous administration, would be permitted to continue his investigation and to make a decision to prosecute any way in which he wanted to and in any district in which he wanted to. Mr. Weiss has since sent a letter to the House Judiciary Committee confirming that he had that authority. I don't know how it would be possible for anybody to block him from bringing a prosecution, given that he has this authority.
And he was never told no.
I'm saying he was given complete authority to make all decisions on his own.
So this was the Trump-appointed Attorney General, that U.S. Attorney, that I told you was left in place when Joe Biden did become president in 2021. Okay, and every U.S. attorney was replaced with, except for this one, because this one had the Hunter Biden case for 5 years already, and the appearance of stacking the deck for his son would have been nauseating. It would have been vomit-inducing. It would have been, so suspect and so wrong. And Joe Biden doesn't do things that are wrong or suspect, so he left the guy in place to continue to investigate his damn son. And the guy, Mr. Weiss, who I told you was the U.S. attorney in Delaware, actually wrote to Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan, who wrote to him asking for documents related to the Hunter Biden investigation. And Mr. Weiss, the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney, said that the attorney general had, quote, granted him ultimate authority over this matter, including responsibility for deciding where, when, and whether to file charges, and for making any decisions necessary to preserve the integrity of the prosecution consistent with federal law. I have fulfilled my responsibilities consistent with department practices and procedures and will continue to do so. Throughout my tenure as U.S. Attorney, my decisions have been made and with respect to the matter that must be made without reference to political consideration, and that nobody blocked him from doing any damn thing. Nobody. So this is another one of those, moments where they just lie because they didn't like the result of an investigation. Shocking.